Hi, I'm Oji and this is Gigi.
And this is Life Radically Redefined.
On this journey called life, you will definitely encounter the unexpected.
Sometimes you'll laugh, sometimes you'll cry, but in the end, if you have someone that will take your hand and walk through it with you, it makes everything better.
You get to make all kinds of discoveries along the way. Some about yourself, some about others. We made some and we just want to share it with you.
So we invite you to just listen, ask questions, make your own discoveries.
Pour your coffee, tea, or whatever you prefer. Settle in and let's talk about dating, courting, marriage, and life.
Oji and Gigi, Life Radically Redefined.
Welcome back, guys. Today is one of the ingredients for a healthy marriage, and it is
Communication.
so we're going to be fairly transparent in discussing the issues that we have and what we use to resolve it. It's like anything else. You work at it and it gets better, and then you trample on something that you didn't expect, and you work at it again.
Look, I'm gonna define trimple. That means you just find your own thing, right? See,
That's it.
We also speak our own crazy language. So, listen, full transparency. Today we weren't even in the same library. Never mind not being on the same page. Right? So just different things were happening. In my mind, I had a certain set of priorities that needed to be done. In OG's mind, he had a certain set of priorities.
Which I was focused on accomplishing.
Right. And I think in those moments when we're both focused on, we were focused on getting to the same place, but we had completely different routes of getting there.
Yeah.
And in that, there was a lot of misunderstanding.
Yes.
So, one of the things that we ended up talking about is feeling heard.
Feeling heard, which is so crazy. But start with the question.
Okay. How do you know that I've heard you?
Blink. Well, I'll tell you how. Oftentimes, I feel like you do hear me.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, today was one of those instances, those moments that was not well communicated.
Right.
So
I didn't hear you today.
So normally how I feel that Gigi hears me is she completes my sentences. And it almost as if I don't even have to say it.
We have a crazy symbiotic relationship.
I mean, but it's nuts, but it is. And that's one of the things that I use to really see if I'm understood, if you comprehend what I said, or if I pause and then you finish, and then that's how I know that, okay,
we're on the same track.
But if it's not, then I was like, no, that's not what I mean. But it's easy because we've done it so long that it almost comes second nature. However,
what happened though is because we've done it so long and we haven't done kind of that temperature check, things get taken for granted. So we took for granted that we were working toward, we were working towards the same goal, and we took for granted though that we didn't need to necessarily communicate because we both knew that this was the end goal, so we're just going to do our thing. And it was in that doing our thing, I got caught up in my own head because I had my own series of thoughts and everything else going on, and like different priorities.
right.
And you,
I guess the way to say it, I felt blindsided by the way she felt, and
I knew he felt blindsided because he's usually always smiling. Smile at the nice people. Whatever. he's always smiling, and like I unloaded this tantrum of just garbage. It was just stuff that was really me, how I was feeling about me and me questioning myself. I didn't want to face those questions, so I projected it onto him, and it just came out in a big ball of trash. And your response was...
I'll say this. I don't think it was big ball of trash. It needed to come out. It needed to come out.
Not in that way.
Of course, that's why now we can discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another point of communication, is that we can get through
those difficult periods,
moments, and almost feels like a barrier. However, we focus on our faith, we focus on God, and then we focus back on ourselves.
Right. That's really what it was. So when usually I do hear you, because usually we discuss things so openly, and I do take for granted that what I'm thinking and what I'm going to do, and I know what you're thinking, what you're going to do, but that is not always the case. So we're very fortunate in that we've built a foundation where we trust each other, and we know that we communicate well, and we get along well, and we love each other, and we like each other. That really makes a difference. But it doesn't matter how long you've been married. There are always going to be moments in your communication that...
Exactly, and that's why we have the goal of making sure that we are often on the same page, often redirecting or remeasuring.
Yeah, like taking the temperature.
Taking the temperature of each other. And that's why we promote a lot of...
enrichment, and because...
And see, perfect example. She just finished my sentence.
But the
sentence.
The reality is that it doesn't matter what stage you are at, what stage you are in your marriage, right? Communication is so key. And in those moments where you read, like what I did today, where I read so much more into just simple statements. He would make a simple observation, and I took it as some kind of personal attack. And that wasn't a him problem, that was a me problem. So that was something that I had to kind of work through. And thankfully, I was able to work through it, and we're able to laugh about it and be like, what? Where did that come from?
Yes.
Because I know that you were blindsided, and I'm so sorry. It is... Oh. No, I don't. I don't often lose it like that, but I don't know. I don't know what it was. It's just the day. I can blame it on all kinds of things, but at the end
blame it on the rain.
Silly. All right. So, but at the end of the day, I still take ownership for my part in that, because it wasn't you. It was totally me. And had I just communicated hey babe, listen, okay, I know you're about to go do this, but these are the things that I had planned. What are you working on? Just so that we had a talk. All I needed to do was initiate a talk, because he, as much as he loves me, and as much as I love him, and as much as he says I finish his sentences, neither of us can read minds.
Exactly. So regardless how bonded that you are, there's always going to be differences, because we are different people in one union. Just remember that, guys. All right? And the goal is healthy relationship.
Right.
All right.
Find your person that you can be vulnerable and transparent with, and that you feel safe sharing your feelings with. That they're not going to judge you for feeling a certain way. We've been through enough that I know his heart, and even some of the things that I said to him, I feel like you don't value what I do in this marriage. What?
And at that moment, I also threw a lot of education, reading books and seminars, and talking to people that I could be accountable to, is remembering those things. I'm still here to protect her. So if I had lashed out, we wouldn't be recording right now.
No.
So that's another thing too, but we'll go over that at a different time.
In the moment, it feels like
Yes,
it sucks in the moment, but all right, so you get through that moment, and we all have them, guys. So like, there's no reason to ever beat yourself up about, oh my goodness, we didn't communicate well. That's okay. You recognize that you didn't communicate well.
Exactly.
Right? Like, just make an effort to do better.
So that's it for today. So as we always say, be blessed and
Be a blessing.